So let's talk about chess. When you picture a chess master, what do you see? I bet it's someone, hunched over a board, completely lost in thought. A kind of human supercomputer, planning dozens of moves ahead into some impossibly complex future. It's this image of pure, slow, intellectual force.
Yeah, we've all heard something like this, right? It's the popular myth that chess geniuses are all about having this superhuman ability to see an insane number of moves into the future, to calculate every single possibility with perfect precision.
But hang on a second. What if that whole image is just wrong? What if the real secret to chess mastery isn't about thinking deeper and slower at all? What if it's about something completely different? Something way faster, more intuitive, and, honestly, a lot more interesting. Let's get into it.
See, this whole thing really comes down to two basic ways the mind works during a game. On one side, you have the slow processes. That's the deliberate move-by-move calculation of different lines. It's time-consuming. It's what we usually think of as thinking in chess. But on the other side, you've got the fast processes, which are all about pattern recognition. This is the ability to just instantly see a familiar setup on the board and just know what to do, almost without thinking. Now here's the key. Real chess skill isn't about just one of these. It's a constant battle, a constant balancing act between the two.
So let's start by trying to peek inside the mind of a grandmaster. Because what we're going to find is that their mental toolkit goes way, way beyond just simple brute force calculation.
This toolkit is just fascinating. At its core is a pattern recognition. We're talking about a mental library of thousands upon thousands of positions, which lets them instantly spot threats and opportunities. That library is what fuels their intuition, that gut feeling for the right move, which is absolutely critical when the clock is ticking down. But it's more than that. It also includes emotional control, the ability to stay cool after a blunder, and even a bit of psychological warfare, reading an opponent and setting traps that a computer would just never fall for.
And all this points to the real challenge for any top player. It's this constant dance between intuition and calculation. Intuition is for those messy, complicated positions, or when you're low on time. It's about feeling the right move. Calculation, on the other hand, is for those critical, must-get-it-right moments where you absolutely have to be precise. The thing that really separates a grandmaster from the rest of us isn't just that they can do both well, it's that they know exactly when to switch from one to the other.
Okay, so this idea of fast, intuitive thinking, it sounds good, right? But is there any actual proof? Well, let's turn to the hard data, because it turns out that speed chess, or blitz, reveals the truth about what's really driving expert performance.
All right, get ready for this number. 81%. According to the research, that's how much of a player's overall chess skill can be predicted just by their performance in blitz chess. The super fast version of the game, where deep, slow calculation is literally impossible. Just let that sink in for a second. This is a huge clue that fast, intuitive pattern recognition, not slow calculation, is the real bedrock of chess mastery.
And you know what? This isn't just some newfangled scientific finding. The legendary grandmaster David Bronstein said it himself decades ago. He saw fast chess not as some gimmick, but as a true measure of a person's raw ability to play the game. It's the ultimate test of a player's deep, ingrained knowledge and intuition.
Scientists even have a name for this whole phenomenon. They call it the equalization hypothesis. The basic idea is that for weaker players, a lot of their edge comes from just having enough time to calculate, that slow search process. So when you take that time away in a blitz game, their advantage shrinks. But for the elite players, the effect is way, way smaller. Their skill is so deeply rooted in that fast, pattern-based recognition that time pressure just doesn't level the playing field nearly as much. Their advantage is built for speed.
So we've seen the theory, and we've looked at the science. But how does this fast, flexible thinking actually work in a real game? Let's look at a concrete technique that masters use all the time to break through mental blocks and find those winning moves. I want you to imagine this scenario. You're playing a game, and you get that little tingle. You just feel it. There's a winning combination here. So you start calculating the most obvious sequence. A check, then a capture, then maybe another check. But it just falls apart. Your opponent has a simple defense, and now you're stuck. So what do you do now? This is where a really cool technique comes in. It's called reversing the move order. Instead of getting stuck on your first idea, you take the key moves you've already identified, that check and that capture, and you just switch their order. It's all about mental flexibility. So often the winning move is right there, but it's hidden behind a different sequence. Maybe the capture has to come first and then the check. This simple little shift can unlock a tactic that was completely invisible just a moment before.
Okay, let's bring this all together. We started with this myth of the slow, methodical calculator, and we've ended up at the reality of the fast, intuitive, and flexible master.
So what is chess genius, really? Well, it's not just about being a powerful calculator. It's about building this enormous mental library of patterns that lets you recognize things in a flash. It's having the intuition to know when to calculate and when to just trust your gut. It's having the mental flexibility to do things like reverse the move order and see solutions that are hidden from everyone else. And, of course, it's the psychological strength to thrive when you're under incredible pressure. That is the real game of chess.
And you know, that leaves us with a final thought. And this goes way beyond the chessboard. Think about any skill you have. It could be coding, cooking, playing an instrument, anything. At first, it's all slow, deliberate calculation, right? But with enough practice, you start to build that same mental library of patterns. So here's the question. What are the slow processes in your own life that with enough time and focus could eventually become mastered by that same fast, intuitive recognition?